Have you ever wondered how your hair grows back after a haircut? You get a trim and then over time your hair looks fuller and thicker than before. But how does this really work? Today we are gonna unlock the secrets of your hair growth cycle to see exactly what happens to your hair strands after a cut. And I'm gonna show you why regular trims are so important for maintaining healthy hair growth and preventing hair loss. So make sure to watch until the end because it gets better with every second that passes. A few days ago, I uploaded a video where I gave myself a haircut in front of the camera, and since then I've been getting hundreds of comments on that video asking me to grow my hair out so we can see how it grows back after the cut. Well, since many of you asked, here is the video, and also I want to use this platform to educate people about hair care, and today we are going to be talking about the science behind how your hair grows back after a haircut. Now if you're not interested in learning more about your hair growth cycle, feel free to skip to the next chapter by clicking on the chapters below, but if you do decide to stay, please like the video at the end to help me rank better in the algorithms. Alright, now let's get started with Chapter 2. When you look at a freshly cut end of a hair strand, it looks pretty uniform and blunt, but when you look at it under a microscope it actually looks kind of funny. The cut end of a hair strand resembles a pile of split ends that have been cut off so you can see each individual hair follicle in the cross-section. This is what your hair looks like right after a cut. But once your skin cells start repairing the damage and begin producing new proteins, the hair begins to grow out in a predictable pattern that follows your hair growth cycle. So here's how it works. Your hair grows in 3 distinct phases called anagen, catagen, and exogen. In the first phase called anagen, your hair is actively growing. This phase usually lasts between 2 to 7 years, and during this stage, your hair follicle is like a factory that produces keratin, which is the main protein that makes up your hair strands. As the keratin is produced, it gets added to the hair shaft, pushing the older hair down and out of the follicle. At the bottom of the follicle, there is a blood vessel called the dermal papilla, and it provides nutrients to your hair through the hair follicle. These nutrients help the hair grow longer and thicker. Now the length of your hair during the anagen phase depends on your genetics. For example, Asian hair tends to be longer because their anagen phase lasts longer than Caucasian or African hair. On average, the anagen phase accounts for 80 to 90% of all hair on your head. The second phase is called catagen, and this phase usually lasts between 3 to 4 weeks. During this stage, your hair follicle shrinks down and the dermal papilla moves further away from the hair shaft. Now this phase is the transitional phase where your hair is not actively growing. Instead, it's just hanging out and preparing for the next phase, which is the exogen phase. And finally, the third phase is called exogen, and this phase usually lasts between 3 to 4 months. During this stage, your hair follicle is no longer being fed by the dermal papilla, and because of that, your hair strand falls out and a new hair starts to form in its place. Once the new hair follicle reaches the surface of the skin, it enters into the anagen phase and the entire process starts all over again. Now, depending on your genetics, your hair may go through 4 to 7 growth cycles per year. Now if you think about it, your hair is constantly changing and you lose hundreds of hairs every day and new ones are forming underneath. Now, even though the average person loses around 50 to 100 hairs per day, it doesn't look like it because the hair that is actively growing underneath is constantly replacing the old hair. So that's how your hair grows back after a cut. It follows a predictable growth cycle that begins with a tiny hair follicle underneath your skin. Now that you know how your hair grows back after a haircut, let me explain why getting regular trims is so important. You see, when your hair is cut, the blunt end becomes more frayed as it grows out and the cut ends become split ends. Split ends cause your hair to become dry and brittle, and they can travel up the hair shaft and cause even more damage. That's why it's important to get regular trims to prevent split ends from traveling up your hair shaft and causing more damage. Also, as your hair grows, it can become tangled and matted, which can cause breakage. Regular trims remove the damaged hair and allow your hair to be more manageable. And finally, trimming your hair regularly helps to keep your hair looking full and thick. As your hair grows out, the thin, fine hair at the bottom of your hair shaft can become hidden underneath the thicker hair at the top. Regular trims remove the old, thin hair and allow the newer, thicker hair to be more visible. As far as how often you should be getting a trim, it depends on how fast your hair grows. On average, human hair grows about ½ an inch per month, so you should be getting a trim every 6 to 8 weeks to prevent split ends from traveling up your hair shaft. However, if you have long hair, you may need to get a trim more often. Now personally, I usually get a trim every 4 to 6 weeks because my hair is long and it tends to get damaged more easily. But you should always listen to your hairstylist because they can assess the condition of your hair and recommend how often you should be getting a trim. So now you know how your hair grows back after a cut and why it's important to get regular trims. But what about using certain products or techniques to promote hair growth? You see, there are a lot of products and techniques out there that claim to promote hair growth, but the truth is most of them don't work. That's because the key to promoting hair growth is maintaining healthy hair follicles. You see, your hair follicles are like little factories that produce keratin, which is the main protein that makes up your hair strands. In order for these factories to produce healthy hair, they need to be fed with the right nutrients. And that's where biotin, collagen, and multivitamins come in. These nutrients provide the building blocks that your hair follicles need to produce strong, healthy hair. Now there are a lot of different products out there that claim to promote hair growth, but the truth is most of them don't work. That's because the key to promoting hair growth is maintaining healthy hair follicles. Your hair follicles are like little factories that produce keratin, which is the main protein that makes up your hair strands. In order for these factories to produce healthy hair, they need to be fed with the right nutrients. And that's where biotin, collagen, and multivitamins come in. These nutrients provide the building blocks that your hair follicles need to produce strong, healthy hair. And I know what you're thinking. Just take a multivitamin and call it a day. Well, not so fast. You see, not all multivitamins are created equal. Some of them contain low-quality ingredients that your body has a hard time absorbing. That's why I created my own line of hair growth vitamins. My vitamins are made with high-quality ingredients that are clinically proven to promote hair growth. For example, my biotin gummies contain 10,000 milligrams of biotin, which is the same amount that is found in one whole raw egg yolk. And my collagen powder contains 10,000 milligrams of hydrolyzed collagen peptides, which is the highest quality form of collagen available. Plus, all of my products are made with natural flavors and colors, which means you won't have to worry about any of those nasty side effects that some of the other products on the market have. So if you're serious about promoting hair growth, then I highly recommend you try out my hair growth vitamins. Use the link in the description below to save 50 off your first order. So now you know how your hair grows back after a cut and why it's important to get regular trims, and also how important it is to maintain healthy hair follicles for optimal hair growth. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And make sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.